Good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast news section as we got here the net September update. Got a lot of stuff going on here, so we'll be getting right to it. And as always, remember to like, share and subscribe and press the bell button. Overall, there's some game-wide changes for all factions. This basically includes heavy armor. Now more or less will all require command point, or less command points, but they have text structure requirements. So stuff like command panthers, tigers, Persians, all that. Now, of course, so we say less command points, but that actually requires tech to get it. You can't just stall into it without taking up, sort of get towards it. So that, for example, really, makes heavy armor perhaps in some ways more accessible, in other ways less accessible, depending on what you're doing. Like for some of the typical command panther stall strategy, dead, thank heavens. Also, a lot of the AoE sort of being changed and standardized to be sort of more reliable is happening also for the heavy tanks. That's also very nice. Medics now move faster towards sort of wounded units. That sort of should help sort things out there as well in bases. And howitzers, well, sort of had some changes there as well. Nothing big. Moving on there, we got the orbital command rest changes, which are all, can feel very well dominant in the early game. That's been sort of slightly changed. That's less extremely powerful right away, but sort of curve out a bit better. Since that one of the issues with the orbital command, they could sort of be really strong early game, but if that fell apart, it could really get ugly for the orbital commander rest. So there are some changes there. They start with less manpower. They all start with fuel, and the trucks of the Schwere Wehrmacht Schleppers also been changed a bit. Just less manpower there, so in long games, it might not hurt so much. The Schwer punted quarters are now cheaper, but on the other hand, the different parts have sort of been locked down. So you can get it out faster to get it orbitals out and faster, making them more viable. But at the same time, the rest of the tech sort of requires a bit more going on there. And the flat cannon isn't quite ready away, so you also need that. So that sort of slightly changes things up there. Not massively, but it does give you more options. Folks going to be slightly cost more manpower, again making it slightly harder to spam. The bigger ones, Steel Punish, which I've gone through in the previous video, might as well go through here. They have less experience requirements, and they can veterans up faster, and also there's sort of veterancy bonus being shifted around, sort of being more accessible in some cases. For example, the accuracy bonus makes them just better combat units overall, which was one of the issues alongside concussive grenades at Veterancy 1. So this should all make Sturm Pioneers more viable in general. MG34s also require less experience now, making them veterans up faster. The Kulvang they keep trying to make more viable now. It's sort of is easier to repair, but I don't think that's going to do a lot there, since the issue is the Kulvang still dies fast without really achieving much. It probably needs something extra. Academies receive a major overhaul. They now perform more like other anti-tankers, so with slightly larger crews compared for them, like that is. They also cost a bit more, and they do gain camouflage, but that's a veterancy fun now, one now. So also they can't move while they're sort of camouflaged to sort of avoid that sort of where they just creep up and unleash a load of rockets. So something to make them less cheesy, but also a bit more viable at the same time. So that sort of is going to be a big one there for the orbital command rest. Flak half track also gets some veterancy shifting around, though no lowering of the requirements. Also costs a bit less fuel, so that's nice. King Tiger also loses a bit of fuel. Also its AoE gets overhauled, and Spearhead gets moved to Veterans 1, Combat Blitz to Veteran 3, and very crucially the King Tiger also loses some of its experience. It's a bit easier to Veterans up, since with the King Tiger it could be quite difficult to get it to the higher levels, because you just had to kill so much. I mean, you practically had to be winning to get into veteran farm in most cases, so that sort of shifts things up there. Over Blitz, less command point requirements, nice, has ambulance healing. I mean, that opens up for more strategy with Fire Storm, so I guess that's nice, plus it moves a bit faster, that's handy, and less fuel, not shabby either. And then there's also some changes to the incendiary barrage, so it becomes more accurate, I think. And just does more, so that's nice. The Flamheads, less experience requirements as well. Nice, I suppose. I don't think it's going to really cause it to be used a lot more, since it's still, kind of weak. Overwatch flares, now required to plan them, though they are free to do so. And radio silence, now actually gives your men a bit of movement speed there as well, so that can be sort of launch attacks while undercover with the sneaky bits. And the command panther there requires Schwer punted quarters with spec pantherization. And they have made it slightly cheaper to compensate, and also make it a bit harder to see on its own. I mean, this is going to make the whole sort of command panther stall strategy, pretty much just it. And I have sort of considered it as an actual viable option alongside other things, and that really just makes it sort of more equal and less just of a cheese strategy. So that's nice. It's going to make orbital commander rest matches less repetitive. Infiltration grenades more expensive. Sturm Tiger 8 command points, but again requires the whole panther association. Fallschirmjägers, cheaper and faster to call in. If Fallschirmjäger Gewehr 42 gets buffed, they only start with 2 now, and they have to upgrade with the other 2 later on. And they also get a first strike bonus, and eventually 5 they also get into bonus there, so it becomes even better. So, I mean, overall, Fighting Megas gain a lot more punch and become, shall I say, much more worth their cost. So that sort of helps, I think, out make Fighting Megas much more viable. Panzer Facilities also become a bit more with slightly cheaper manpower cost and slightly less munitions cost for the upgrades. So they sort of become a bit better as well in that sense. They sort of are a bit more, equal to full grenadiers. So again, combat-wise aren't quite as good, but they do have some, utility later down the road. Sector Assault gets overhauled. And this, by the way, I think I sort of mentioned that. It gets basically less good. It's Assault Artillery that sort of gets overhauled, so it's no longer specific at sector, and so it just becomes better. So that's very nice. There was, pretty wonky ability, but this really just gives it some more go to it. So thumbs up there. Storm Officer, big change as well there. He loses the aura, but he gains veterancy, so that actually makes him kinda nice to use there. And has grenades as well, smoke grenades specifically, but still that's also very nice. And can become a 5th member, so that really just gives the Storm Officer, I think, a bit more to go with and makes him sort of more of a viable unit. Command Tiger gets the whole AoE thing as well. Thorough Salvage, faster, and Yak Tiger actually costs less fuel, but also loses health and armor. I'm not entirely sure that's going to help. And it does become faster, move faster, it loses range, but it does become more accurate. So who knows? It might actually be better. Plus, it actually gains health now, veteran 5, since that was kind of pointless after it got removed. So I don't know if this makes the Yak Tiger overall more useful. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, there might still be in a few cases. Moving on to one of the big ones, the British with the infantry sections, they're getting nerfed as well. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. The overall get more accurate, but again, it does come at the cost of less damage per shot. More importantly, they are a bit easier to kill out in the open, which was one of the issues. They can just sort of run about in the open and be pretty hard to kill for sort of an infantry unit. That was kinda dumb. Plus, this combined with the less damage per shot means they're overall just less amazing to blob around with, which was really one of the issues with the sections. Like, they also had a good chance of wiping your units due to that. So shifting that all about, I think, just makes it all a bit better and a bit harder. Just overwhelm you with raw numbers, and also forces them to use the cover more, which was really one of the issues. Like, they just made it too easy to run about in the open. Suppression of the Vickers slightly improved. Sniper shoots a bit faster, I suppose. Yeah. We get the Comet, which gets slightly buffed. Basically, less manpower, more accuracy, and Veteran 3 actually gives us sort of a combat bonus as well, and it has heavy crash. I mean, that's going to make it more viable, I imagine. Chroma becomes a bit harder to hit and moves a bit faster. Firefly, on the other hand, gets a bit cheaper, and the Tula rockets become, well, a bit cheaper to upgrade as well. Nothing big there. Churchill tank, slight nerf, bit more population, bit more fuel. I'm not entirely sure that's going to be sufficient to really nerf the Churchill, but at the same time, with the Comet perhaps standing out a bit more and the infantry section being nerfed, it might not be just as easy just spam section and install into a Churchill tank. Emplacements can now be disassembled. You get a bit of manpower back, but not a lot, so we'll have to see how that works out. Aviary and Crocodile requires 9 command points and will hammer tactics. And the forward assembly repair range sort of, for those upgrades sort of becomes a bit nerfed as well, so that's nice. And finally, there's some change to the ball force, so it's less just immediately wiping units, but a bit better and longer range, sort of longer engagements. Moving on to the USF, Riflemen get a bit boost up close. There's definitely some that don't like that, but it's sort of, I don't know how to put it. I mean, it's not, again, in most cases going to matter because they're still going to beat your troops up close. It just means versus full grenades they perform a bit better. But otherwise, I mean, versus the Wehrmacht, it's not really going to change much. You're still going to rely on your machine guns and larger numbers and panzer grenadiers to beat them. If you still try to beat them one-one with grenadiers, I mean, you're just being silly at that point. So, no changes there. Re-echelons, we got a bit of flare cost there. Re-echelons, slight boost there as well. So you make them sort of perform more consistently, so that's nice. Jackson, slight fuel cost increase. I'm not sure if that's going to be sufficient. Scott, there gets nerfed. There was definitely a bit too easy just to spam them, just murder units. So that's going to be nice there. It's going to require a bit more, barraging sort of skill to get through there. Similar to the Pack Howards, less accurate. Again, get a bunch, and you can just sort of auto shoot your opponents to death. And the White Frost on the mortar after that also, you know, gets nerfed, which is nice. That was also overperforming a bit. And we finally get the Bulldozer Sherman, well not finally, we also get the Bulldozer Sherman, which becomes command points wise a lot cheaper, but does require the Major. And you sort of get the same thing with the Pershing. Major down to 9 command points. It does lose a bit of armor, but it does gain more health, and of course it gets the whole AoE buff. On the other hand, its rating fee reload bonus does get lowered a bit there, so it's not quite as impressive, which is, you know, a bit nice. And some slight changes to other abilities, nothing big there. Rifle Company gets a few buffs there to fire up, and it gets access to rifle and field defenses. And the paratroopers sort of gain some small bonuses there as well to make, you know, a bit nice as well. So, you know, thumbs up to that, I suppose. Moving on to the Wehrmacht. I'd like to make a nice company comes 100 manpower less. I mean, we'll have to see how that works out. I mean, the thing is, I mean, again, a lot of people increasingly just skip it thanks to the Panzer grenadiers. So while then there'll be some that try to rush out. They like to make a nice company at the same time. For those that skip it, I don't think it's going to make it particularly more viable, because the problem is that kind of a lot of the units in there sort of can feel a lot more situational and much more is just destroyed, and at which point the tier just becomes very much superfluous. Like, it's just a lot of the units in the, like, you know, sort of late game staying power, so that tends to sort of just overall make the entire thing negligible. So I'm not entirely sure that's going to make a big difference, but you know, it might be useful in some situations. Minesweeper upgrade is going to be big, like just improving 30% repair speed with Minesweepers is big. It means Wehrmacht can get the stuff into action faster. That is, you know, really good. Another big one is Grenadiers. Basically now they become not harder to hit, they are harder just to kill because they take reduced damage. So basically means stuff like artilleries and tanks and all that just can't immediately just wipe an entire unit, so that just makes them overall, you know, harder to kill. In particular, the veteran squad leader Grenadiers with firemen in particular, I think, going to be quite formidable against armor and artillery against that. So that's only going to make them a lot more useful. The question is, maybe they shouldn't have been to the Panzer Grenadiers instead, since they also kind of suffer that issue and they're more expensive. So I don't know. Counter barrage range from 80 to 100, basically pointless. The ability never gets used in the first place because in most cases there's nothing to use it on, and in the case they are, you're just better off barraging yourself. Like, I mean, they might as well just put a hat on it. It does nothing. It's pointless. They should only just replace the ability with something with higher utility and your actual effect, like bouncing bombs, incendiary rounds, you know, more precise barrages, something. Just, I don't know, not that. 222 gains a bit of extra penetration. That basically makes it more useful slightly versus shock troopers. I think that's basically it. Nothing huge there. And maybe some heavy sappers. 250 and a half track. They're trying to make it, you know, more integrated to Ostheer's core support weapons and combined arms gameplay. The problem is, unless it actually becomes more worthwhile in those engagements, it's going to achieve absolutely zip. And the problem is, like, yes, you increase the line of sight, but you would rather use a 2-2 or Pioneers for that. Like, the problem is with the 250 and a half track, it's a big target that is awkward to get to safety once things get going. And the problem is, none of this fixes it, like giving it mines. Most people don't use better mines when they have access to them on the vehicles, like adding Schumine. I don't think it's basically going to make much of a difference. This is basically just painting it red and saying it's going to go faster. Like, it achieves absolutely nothing in making the 250 and a half track more viable. Giving it healing, which again requires you to manage your troops inside the half track and out of there, is like just, it's pointless. Like, they should give it suppression, increase its firepower somehow, just give it something that actually makes it, you know, more actually impressive in direct combat. Otherwise, they might as well not bother again. This is just painting it red and saying it's going to go faster. Like, no. Similarly, here we get some buffs to the G43s for the Panzers and the Stormtroopers. I mean, I really think they should just give it up and just give them the infrared assault rifles that fit a lot more. Like, the problem is just the G43s go counter to what you're trying to do with assault rifles, which just shoot stuff fast. Like, trying to make the G43s more viable there, I feel like it's just, again, a lost cause. I mean, they can make them good, but at that point they're just going to make them busted, because, again, the problem is, again, like, just why are you then getting Panzer Grenadiers in the first place when you just go for Grenadiers who are cost-wise more efficient and equip those with G43s? Like, it's just pointless. Just give them something else than G43s and accept it's done with, really. It's not going to work. It's a lost cause. And then the sort of nerfing bunker bonus line of sight there, I guess. Fair enough. Tiger, 9 command points, requires battle phase 3. So, of course, compared with, say, the Pershing, I mean, you still have to pour more effort to get into the targets there. On the other hand, of course, the AoE gets better and it becomes more accurate. And, of course, it requires less experience. You can eventually get faster. I mean, there's certainly some benefits to the Tiger tank. Stugi becomes more accessible but requires battle phase 2. I don't think that's going to make it, like, a lot better. It's kind of, nah. Spotting scopes, quite a bit of delay before we get going. Also, some supply drop. Bit cheaper, more accessible, that's nice. Command tank, well, less command points, less fuel cost, and, you know, apparently they fixed the aura. And I think they should just give it some abilities rather than aura. I feel like auras was just a bad idea. Jaeger Command Squad, fast available, very nice. And then there's some name changes here to, I think, differentiate abilities. Yeah, mortar half-tracks, incendiary barrages become better. And again, the counter battery, I mean, replace it with something else. Support company, less fuel. That does make rushing out T-70s fast. It's all nice, I guess, but it just makes rushing out T-70 a bit faster. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Like, the T-70 is already too good, I feel. And it's just, I mean, they shouldn't be doing that. They really should keep the T-70 in mind. Shift to the bang here to make the mobilized reserves upgrade faster. It does require a bit more resourcing and sort of, you know, push it out. But if you sort of get the mechanized armor company built, it sort of gets you for free. I mean, you know, it's nice that you have an option if you really want to push it, but at the same time, you don't have to if you don't want to. Maxim gets a bit more suppression in terms of like deal with larger forces. Alright, I guess. Engineers sort of get the same sort of bit with making their damage, I suppose, a bit more consistent. And of course, they also get the whole, you know, minesweeper repair bits. So, you know, again, more reliable and, you know, minesweepers help repair stuff. Very nice. Airborne guards lose the DP lock machine guns less. I guess. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what to react to this. I mean, I guess it was a problem, but I don't know. And then you got the high explosive barrages there on the CIS-3 and the S-6. You know, again, they're more reliable, but they also just like just, you know, shoot and wipe a unit, which can certainly be frustrating. Particularly with the CIS-3. A lot of units just let them find one shot and then I lose them entirely, and that feels a bit sad. Guards Rifleman, hit the dirt, gets changed its name, so there's less confusion there. That's very nice. Conscript Assault Package, more accessible, handy. And Shock Troopers basically sort of have more cooldown than grenades, so, you know, they can't just chuck a smoke grenade, crawl through, and then chuck a grenade as well. Assault Guards from the Lend-Lease Doctrine now come with 3 Thompsons, gives them a bit more firepower in that sense. So, you know, might make the half-track calling there a bit more useful, but I don't know if it's going to really sort of like make the big difference. I mean, most people still don't use Lend-Lease, despite I think it being pretty good. Partisan troops get some big stuff there. They can sort of decapture stuff better and capture it. They get better line of sight against you used as scouts. They get a concussive trap, and they also gain a, you know, strike bonus, first strike bonus that I have to cover there at Vetch 2, which is really good, I guess, really good. Partisan tank hunters, you know, also getting some nice buffs there as well. So again, they also become better. Thumbs up. K1 now gets added hold down mode, which, you know, makes them a bit harder to kill when they hold down. And they also get better machine guns for the murder infantry. So overall, the K1 gets better. I mean, it wasn't like bad before, but, you know, I suppose it isn't bad to make it better. And then you finally get to the IS-2, which gets some really big stuff there. It requires 10 command points, so unlike, say, the Pershing, I mean, it does require a bit more than that. Its AoE also gets buffed and, you know, it becomes more accurate. On top of that, it gains the fragmentation shells, so that basically is an ability with even better murdering capability for infantry, and can also, you know, stun vehicles if they get hit by it. So overall, just a big murder bonus against infantry for the IS-2, making it that much more devastating against infantry. KV-2 requires 10 command points now, and then you sort of get to the defensive tactics, where they sort of add anti-tank overwatch defensive tactics, plus the abilities to get merged. I mean, overall, a nice patch. I feel like in the Valorant ones, in several cases, just painting it red and saying it's going to go faster. Like, you go there, boy. But again, I'm pretty convinced a lot of those really don't do a lot. I mean, the Tiger tank is, you know, really significant. Some of the others aren't, but again, like just the half track one, the counter battery one, thumbs down. You know, do better. Do better. I'm not buying it at all. If it was a product and it's thought, you know, call the man to explain what they're trying to rip me off for that one. Like, nah. But I always like some of the nerfs, like some of the buffs, so to make more units viable, and again, sort of cover at least some of the more, shall we say, obnoxious and repetitive strategies, so that's overall nice. Again, I'm a bit worried about them making T7 rashes just a bit more accessible, and they really don't need to be. So I think that sort of largely covers it. I mean, overall, lots of good stuff. Again, some stuff I'm just not sold on. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this little video. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment, and of course, also feel free to support me by donating. This is Imperial signing off, and I'll be back another time with another video.